Hey everyone, welcome to Mountain Beast Mysteries. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a very interesting Bigfoot encounter. Probably my all-time favorite Bigfoot encounter that involves an actual nest or hide. Now, there are actually lots of reports out there that tell of encounters where people are hiking along or hunting in the middle of nowhere and they come across these bizarre, either shelter-like structures or areas that look almost like a nest in the ground, similar to a bedding area that you would see from other large mammals. Though lots of these are unique in that they consist of oddly twisted branches and sticks and are constructed in a way that is not the same as what a regular forest-dwelling mammal would do, or how they would make them. I know that the people over at the Olympic Project in Washington, like Derek Randalls and Shane Corson, and whoever else is involved with that project, they have found plenty of strange nesting sites deep in the Olympic Mountains that would appear to, have been made by none other than Bigfoot, because they consist of these characteristics that I just mentioned. Some of these nesting sites go one step further by being completely camouflaged by like leaves and other forest debris and shrubbery, making them the perfect hiding spot for something like a Sasquatch. Now, obviously, the forests are also littered with an astounding amount of man-made structures and hides, so it is really hard to determine sometimes what is making these things. To say 100% that it was a Sasquatch would require some actual physical or trace evidence left behind at the site, or it would actually require someone seeing a Sasquatch in one of these things, or at least nearby. The encounter I'm about to go over is one that gives me the creeps every time I read it. Not only do the people involved come across a nest of some sort, or you could even call it a den, but they actually see, feel, and hear it underneath them. And this is a very unique encounter and one of my all-time favorites, so sit back, relax, and I'll get into it right now. So this incident happened in 2003 on Vancouver Island in the Cowichan Valley. I don't think it was reported till a few years later, but the Cowichan Valley, in British Columbia, it's a Bigfoot hotspot. So it says here, this incident is a follow-up to 3 years ago. At that time, we ran into a den or nest about 15 to 20 feet long, constructed of old rotten tree sawdust, cedar branches and wood shavings, moss, dirt compacted on top of torn and chewed up wood chips about half a foot long, with branches and twigs all weaved together over top of a big hole, which was dug into the ground. Over top of the hole was large trees that were dragged and placed over the hole. All this led up to a huge old-growth fallen tree crossing the trail. The first thing we noticed then was 15 to 20 trees had all been pushed over, broken off at the height of about 6 feet, and dragged over to make the nest. Debris everywhere. This was an area where there was no windfall, and these trees had been pushed down, pointing toward each other and facing down the path toward the den. At this time, my husband was already standing on the end of the nest, on top of the fallen tree, just taking in the scenery, when all of a sudden, I noticed a black hole down beside his right leg and two blinking, beady, silvery black eyes that caught the light. I proceeded to walk on the soft part of the nest when all of a sudden, we heard a loud echoing that seemed to be coming from all around us. It sounded like large boulders being thrown down and hitting trees, or someone with a sledgehammer hitting trees. There were 3 loud smacks, then a pause, and then 3 more loud thumps coming from beneath us, with the force of a semi-truck coming into a building, so strong it was pushing me up. I was 15 feet away from the main fallen log my husband was standing on. It seemed like there must have been more logs beneath me in the hole I was standing on. There was another pause, and my husband walked over to where I was standing. We were discussing what was going on, when it seemed the thing heard us talking. It gave us 3 more loud thumps. I thought it would come up from the ground and pull us in. We talked ourselves into believing it was a bear in order to get our legs moving. They were frozen in fear. There were no grunts or growls, there was no odor, but there was a feeling of impending doom. We then ran up to an embankment, thinking it might follow the trail behind us. My husband kept looking back and thought that he saw a black thing coming out of the hole. I was expecting it to come from behind when I saw a black object to my left running parallel to me through the woods. I instinctively knew it was heading towards the log we initially crossed over into its territory. I felt it was trying to intercept us, but we got out of there and phoned the conservation officer, describing it as a bear den. He did not believe us. He did not believe bears could build dens that large, never mind on a trail. So basically what happened is these people were hiking along, and they came to this area where it looked like this giant nest was constructed out of fallen trees, pushed over trees and logs, and one giant, like, old growth tree. And these were laid over top of a hole in the ground, and these people were standing on top of it. And whatever this thing was making knocking sounds from inside of the den, inside of the hole in the ground. And, you know, they could feel it, like, pushing up on the logs that they were standing on top of. So very intense, very creepy encounter. It says she actually saw the eyes of this creature, so there was something there. This is not bear behavior, you know. And I have never witnessed a bear in any sort of, you know, shelter or den such as this. And, you know, she actually seen it running parallel to her through the woods. And, you know, if a bear's coming after you, it's probably just going to come directly from behind. It's not going to move into the trees and then run parallel. It's something a Sasquatch would do to, you know, remain somewhat camouflaged and concealed. So when you guys are out in the wilderness and you're hiking around, maybe keep a lookout for something like this. If you find an area where there's, you know, piles of trees and debris and brush that are all piled up somewhere, it could be some sort of shelter or hide or den or nest. And, you know, be careful, because there could be something inside of it. You never know. This is in the Cowichan Valley on Vancouver Island. There was another pretty crazy encounter that happened in that exact location, pretty much that exact location. And I'll probably make a video about that a bit later on. But, you know, Vancouver Island, I just said in one of my last videos, it's Ape Island. It's known for, you know, an incredible amount of Sasquatch reports, some of the best reports, and a lot of terrifying and scary reports. So I want to know in the comments down below, have you guys ever come across anything like this? Have you found anything in the wilderness that looks like a Sasquatch nest? Do you think Bigfoot even constructs nests like this? You know, let me know what you guys think. Like I said, this is one of my favorite reports just because it's so unique and creepy. And it's not too far away from home. And I've been to Vancouver Island quite a few times. And I would really like to go back there and do some exploring and maybe check out, you know, this trail that these people were on, if I can find out where exactly it is. Sounds like a really promising location. If you want to support the channel, you can do so using the GoFundMe link in the video description. Thanks for watching this video, guys. We'll see you next time on Mountain Beast Mysteries.